Can someone explain the Deshaun Watson Browns quarterback situation to me? Because I am bemused. All right, I don't understand what's going on. Let's rewind the clock. It's before week 4. The Browns have a key game coming up. Like we just said, they're playing the Ravens, right? This is a divisional game. This is going to be a huge game for the team. Deshaun Watson has a right rotator cuff contusion, which is a thing that is hard to say. Right rotator cuff contusion. All week, I'm going to play, right? Deshaun said I'm going to play on Friday before the game. He's adamant. I'm going to be playing in this game. Got to play a divisional rival critical game. He warms up before the game on Sunday, and as announced before the game that he's a no-go. And so that he's not going to be able to play. They start Dorian Thompson-Robinson, they lose. Post-game, Kevin Stefanski is asked about it and says Deshaun Watson was medically cleared to play, and it was his call not to play. And he said Watson, knows his body, and he chose not to play, and that was Watson's choice. The Browns have a bye in week 5, and GM Andrew Berry gets on the mic during the bye and pretty quickly is like, it was a team choice, and we all agreed together. It couldn't have been easier for all of us to agree together. He said it was a very, very easy choice. He gave, I thought, as far as like these damage control quotes go, I thought he gave a pretty good quote where he said, we were optimistic he would play. It worked his tail off in rehab. Went out on that Sunday. We took him through the pregame workout. It was obvious to all of us that he couldn't throw or drive the ball well enough to perform in the game. This is your quarterback. His job is to throw the ball anywhere from 30 to 35 times. If he can't push it, he can't drive it, he can't throw it down the field, which became very evident early in the workout. It's a very easy decision for us not to put him there. Those are important lines because the Browns have the bye in week 5. Week 6 comes around. Huge game against the Niners. Deshaun still is a no-go. They start PJ Walker. They win. Defense plays great. Here comes week 7. We're getting the Colts. Deshaun Watson's the starter. Guess what happened when Deshaun Watson played, Sheil? He couldn't drive the ball. He couldn't throw. Deshaun could not access downfield at all. And I know this because he tried to multiple times, like on scramble drills where he's like not even rooted to the ground. Like he doesn't have good like force from the ground up. It's like all going to be on his arm. And the ball died and he threw picks. They were also like terrible decisions. Like he was off the entire game. He was late on timing, bad on accuracy, even in the short area. He was taking pressure and inviting sacks that he shouldn't have done. And then when he's outside of the pocket, he's trying to make these like hero arm throws that apparently he's not capable of making. He takes a big hit, gets slammed into the turf, goes to the sideline. They put him in the concussion protocol. He doesn't come back in the game. All right. Deshaun must have a concussion. No, the broadcast clarifies. He does not have a concussion. They're just keeping him out of the game. Head coach Kevin Stefanski says after the game, I just wanted to protect my player. We're worried about his health. Deshaun said after the game, he doesn't know if he re-injured his shoulder, but he was worried he might have re-injured his shoulder. So they as a team were worried about him coming back in and maybe re-injuring the shoulder. And then Kevin Stefanski says he's going to play in week 8 against the Seahawks. Did he get re-injured or not? How are you going to say now on a Sunday that he's playing on a Sunday? And then Monday comes around and Ian Rappaport, second time Kevin Stefanski's comments have had to be clarified, says Deshaun's day-to-day. He's going to be day-to-day. They expect him to play on Sunday, but he's going to be day-to-day. Okay, so that's the recap. I don't get what's going on. If I'm giving my honest read, it's that Kevin Stefanski feels like he needs Deshaun to play in order to save his job. And / maybe ownership wants Deshaun to play because they feel like they want to justify the contract. But then also, like, if he's worth this much money and you're worried about his shoulder, don't put him out there. Also, Deshaun's been bad. So why does he even have this out there? I don't understand what's happening at all. But this is a mess. This is like a mess from like a PR perspective. The Deshaun Watson trade has always been a mess from a PR perspective. This injury is just generally being handled poorly. Deshaun is not playing well pre-injury. He's not playing well post-injury. Are they forcing him back out there? I don't understand what's happening. What I know is the Browns' defense is ready. The Browns' running game, even without Nick Chubb, is ready. This team is 4-2. They have all the pieces around to be a contending team. And they really screwed up their quarterback situation by trading for Deshaun Watson when he had a horrible, horrible criminal behavior in Houston. And there was no evidence that he was going to play well, and he isn't playing well. And now he's got an injury, and I don't know how they're handling this either. It makes no sense to me. I feel like the Browns are teetering on the edge of like hugely tanking an incredible defensive season and also like inviting new and more bad interest and attention on their quarterback and Deshaun Watson. I don't get what's going on.
Yeah, I think what you said at the end there is what really strikes me because, like, if you're a Browns fan, this, like, other than the Watson thing, this has been kind of a pretty fun season. Your defense comes out of nowhere. They've won the last 2 weeks on the last play of the game, right? Both of the last 2 weeks here. Myles Garrett is just jumping over lines of scrimmage to, was it a blocked field goal or
blocked
a blocked
field goal?
punt?
Myles Garrett scored 10 points for the Browns in a game they won by a point.
Right.
King.
He won that game for them. He's playing at a high level. Again, the defense is playing great. You're figuring some stuff out without Nick Chubb. And then you have this Watson injury, and you're absolutely right to flag this situation. You know, when I was doing the Big J journalism thing, doing like the, you know, a beat writer for various teams, there would be situations that would crop up where you wouldn't know you would have to do reporting on what you think is happening, but the antennae, right? You're the
Sure.
wordsmith. Yeah. Okay. They would go up and you'll be like, something's weird about this situation. Something's going on.
Weird.
Let's try to figure it out. This situation, the way you laid it, I mean, Deshaun Watson starts that game. Okay. He goes 1 for 5 with an interception. Like you mentioned it. 2 of those balls are just like short incompletions. Throws an interception. Could have had a second interception, but the ball just hit the ground. Kenny Moore, we're talking 2 interceptions on the first 4 possessions. Goes out, you mentioned it, doesn't have a concussion. He's standing on the sideline. I don't know if PJ Walker went down. Does Deshaun Watson come back into that football game? Maybe. I don't know.
Right.
And I don't know so I don't know what the reasoning is. I feel like there's going to be big reporting on this this week. Hopefully, it's obvious that player, coach, organization, somebody's not on the same page with somebody else, whether it's if you're Deshaun Watson and you feel like you're not absolutely 100%, you probably don't want to be out there because you don't want to look bad. People are already clowning you for your numbers. You've got the guaranteed contract. You want to be out there when you feel 100%. And that's every athlete's right. There's no doubt about it. But the fact that Stefanski, who seems to me to be like a pretty media savvy, like professional savvy type head coach, has kind of stepped in it 2 weeks in a row, that to me is also telling. And it's like they didn't have the great backup quarterback situation.
From what I understand from the Browns overall, like Stefanski tends to be like very like tight-lipped on player injuries. Like never one to be like,
doesn't say anything.
He's here, anything
no
like
doubt
that.
about it.
And he's been very like, well, Deshaun's cleared. What?
Yeah.
David Njoku has burns on his face and is playing ball for the Browns right now.
Ooh.
Like it is a very weird situation. And here's like, this is a very challenging thing to talk about because when you talk about the Browns acquiring Deshaun Watson, you don't want to just be like, here's a bunch of football things. You want to start by saying the Browns acquired Deshaun Watson from the Texans when he had 20 plus cases against him of sexual misconduct, of sexual assault. It was a horrible thing to do as an NFL team, is to say, we justify this man's behavior. We're going to defend him because we want to win football games. That was terrible, and that should be the whole conversation. But as the Browns move forward and they play games on their schedule and football happens, you have to acknowledge the football ramifications of things. And when they acquired him and then gave him the contract that they gave him, not independent of what he did, he can't be independent of what he did, but just the contract alone, when you give a guy that deal, you inherently change the balance of power in the way that your organization should work. And especially after he did what he did. Deshaun in that organization has an insane amount of power because the Browns completely and totally endorsed him as the man who is going to save the team and win the championships and be the quarterback of the Browns by saying, we don't care about what you did in Houston off the field. Here's also all of the guaranteed money that any player has ever gotten after we traded for you. So now in this position where Deshaun and the coaching staff, I think, pretty clearly feel differently about his ability to play football. The way that this should work in terms of like channels and medical staff and GM and ownership is tossed out of whack because you can't tell Deshaun to do anything, which I don't even know if you should. Like, I don't know Deshaun's shoulder. I don't know if they should be telling Deshaun to do stuff. If Deshaun can only throw the balls I saw he did against the Colts, he absolutely shouldn't be playing. But that's why the power imbalance, that's why you get into these weird spots where he is starting and then he gets pulled. He doesn't have a concussion, but he doesn't go back in. And then the coach says he's playing against the Seahawks 30 minutes after he was unwilling to put him in a one-score game against the Colts. It is like something is horribly weird and afoot in Cleveland. And I wouldn't be surprised if you and I are on this pod a month from now being like, man, what did the Browns do to get to the spot that they're in now?
Yeah, it's, they said day to day, but I think the question was, could he go on injured reserve? And they were like, well, we're not going to, completely.
Day to day, he might be out for 4 weeks.
He might be out for 4 weeks. Who knows? We don't know. No one knows when he's going to play. He doesn't know. The coach doesn't know. The organization doesn't know. So, yeah, I think you're right to flag that as we kind of set up the week and what to look for this week. It's weird. They're 4-2. Again, their defense is playing well, but that I think is one of the biggest stories in the NFL right now. What is going on with Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns? All right.